Welcome to today's concert, a very special concert of songs, a very special concert of songs here at the library. And we thought that since today is Preposition Awareness Day, all over the world over, that we would celebrate the songs composed by the one composer who devoted his life to them. And not just to two, but to all of the rest of them. Now I know you had expected soprano Geraldina Ferragimini from the Met, but her playing is behind schedule. She's been touring around. But I'm very happy to tell you that I will be filling in for her because of my in with him, you see. Yes, yes. So she begins something like this. Like is very popular these days, it's a preposition, yeah. Like a lot. Like wow. You know, I knew him and knew that as a young man, he was especially taken with, wanted nothing more than to be with, and to become a with, and to live as a with. Not knowing how yet yearning nonetheless for with. Yes, with learning. With. Well, he came to see that all these were invisible, and not just to him, but to everybody, you. And he wanted to set things straight, put things right, and to recognize and celebrate the preposition for what it does. And he did, with his songs of the preposition. Oh, I do love, oh. He loved with. I love yes. I'll try it again.
Hello!
Oh, she made it. Geraldina Ferragimini.
Oh, my plane was behind. I'm so over it.
Your plane was behind. Yes. Yes. You know, our composer said that without prepositions, we'd just be alone. There'd be no next to, the person you're next to. You couldn't talk to anyone about anything. And nothing could happen during a day anyway. During, what a concept, during. Gets me every time, during. Yes. Yes, he said without these we'd just be alone. Alone without, adrift, alone, without even, yes. Our first song that he wrote was called Over the Under Behind. He was into it, wasn't he?
He was so into it.
He was so into it. He even had tattoos of them.
I saw his tattoos.
Yeah. He had an of here, with a within, and a below here above the behind, and another below below the behind. Two belows, below, and an over around here, that connected to a 2 here that was all the way down to a width here and a below here. Yeah, that's right. Is that right?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah. You know, all that yearning of his changed when he went to a conference of the Modern Language Association of America, where he met a former grammarian, me, from wherever, and they're connected with me, especially after he read through my dissertation titled Adverbs Are Rarity, which inspired this next song about rarity.
It was round about sunset. You were just going about being a grammarian when about a dozen roses in a roundabout way showed up all about the door. Rarely, truly, rarely roses, make no bones about it, about this many too. And right then and there came an about face, about face, about face, about face, about me, about you, about us, and we came about.
And it was about this time of year. And, one thing led to another, so into each other we were that we moved in with each other, in which, out of which, from which came this next song, Inside My Body Breathe.
As I live and breathe, if it isn't you, and I do remember now, I saw you and thought I'd breathe my last. You caught my breath, took my breath away, and there I was, holding my breath. And in the same, and then I started breathing again. And then onto your feet you sprang and blew your breath along my spine, over my head, behind my back. And in the same breath out of your mouth, you blew across my mind, through my heart, and into my arms. Do you remember now?
Thank you. I think then he finally became
the
with he
He
longed
longed
to become.
He did. That was the moment.
He even had with parties.
Oh,
Do you remember
I
those
remember the
with
parties. The
Woo!
last one. Do you remember the last one?
With parties. remember that.
I'm really winded.
I'll take this next one. The next song is Into on Top. In bed, on the couch, so into each other we were. Up and over and around we were, beside, above, beneath, below, in the car, on the plane, on the kitchen counter, onto the kitchen floor, out of one room, into another, through the den, ending in the library, of course. Thank you. Well, I think he became a great connector. He instituted over-under festivals, teaching all kinds of workshops. My favorite up yours is Stick It To You was eventually canceled, but it's beneath me, I'm above it. Well, it continues to be fairly popular among some. I think his next song, whatever you call it, his next song is from his minimalist period, titled But Over Time. Well, a rough period followed. We were each very busy with that, and he went out with, and I went out with, then much came between us. And then one night, overwrought.
Over the long hall, overnight, we were so over it, and over spilt milk. It was so over the top that I was just over and done with it. It was so off the deep end, and so I said, you do that once more, over my dead body.
And with that, our with was over with. But several years went by, and realizing the error of his ways, both grammatical and otherwise, he wrote an apology song to me called something.
Set before and after image of an afterlife, but the aftermath of you know what shouldn't really matter anymore. Of the afternoon. Didn't he? Didn't he? I think he did. After all. After all.
Very soon after, we ran into each other. Before I knew it, we were back together and continued to back together with. And before we knew it, we were back together with again.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was beyond the be over, flying arm in arm around the room on our prepositions, falling all over again, forward, together, with, together, with.
Together, together with. Together, together with.
Together, with. And then one day he appeared under the weather. Soon was only hanging on. And before I knew it, he left us his ashes, up for over for up. Then suddenly I woke up to without over or under, next to, around, no between, no of for of, toward, into, onto, no during the day, no during the night, no during it all, no out of breath, out of our senses, out of this world, no, none of that, but just over with, no, none of that, and only finally without. This last song was published after. But I understand.
Now, even under these circumstances, it did get under my skin. Under these circumstances, under my skin. But since we were under fire and under wraps, but kind of under the counter, and sort of under my nose all along, and since we were under fire, I said under my breath,